Arvind Yadav. So he is a diploma in electronics, but then he moved on to, so he's worked on almost all systems that you can talk about. Started as Unix hardware, Unix systems, then moved on to Windows, and now is fully into Linux systems. He manages servers for his company OPSPL in Verna. So he's one of those founding members of FOSS community in Goa in 1990s approximately. So he's a veteran as far as the whole Linux movement in Goa is concerned. He was also part of the project where they imported used desktops from US and gave it to some schools in Goa. So he's done it all, and he has a lot of experience in this whole software and hardware industry in Goa. And also that question that I asked you yesterday about why do you think Linux is so popular today? I think you might get some hints of that question that I shared with you yesterday from his talk. So over to you, Mr. Arvind.
I'm not used to teaching. Can people behind hear me? Can you all hear me? Go back? Sorry, because I can't from here. I am not used to teaching, not used to taking lectures. Okay, so please bear with me. Some of you have done, most of you have done your engineering. So as part of your course, you have done Unix or Linux. Yeah? You have already worked on it, right? Unix or Linux? Which one? Little louder, please. None? I thought some said yes, and then how it became none. You have worked on Linux, not on Unix. Some have worked, some have not. Now, normally I don't like it, starting with history, because if you look at the old syllabus of schools, you'll notice every year they start with history of computers. Okay, my kids, they're fed up of it. They don't like it. It's wonderful that your syllabus does not cover history of computers. It's lovely. But I will have to give you a background of Linux, FOSS, etc. I will have to go back into history. Okay. So, the Unix operating system was originally conceived and written by Ken Thompson. He used to work at Bell Labs. He had worked on a project called Multics, which was being scrapped by Bell Labs, and he had a spare PDP-7 line with him, which he wanted to use for some space simulations. So he decided to write his own operating system for it, which he called Unix. People in this industry, the geeks, they tend to, play with words. So since the previous one was called Multics, he decided to call his Unix. There is no particular reason otherwise for it. This was originally written in the assembly language for PDP-7, and later on, when Dennis Ritchie, who developed the C programming language, they collaborated on this project, and we wrote, a little closer, okay, sorry. Please raise your hand, if this comes down and you don't hear me, please raise. So, they rewrote the Unix operating system in C. And along with him, his other colleagues also started using it, and as they used it, they wanted more features out of it. So as time went by, they all started writing utilities for it, programs for it that others could also use. Since there was no single coordinated effort, there is no consistency in these programs. They are options. Each one they wrote whatever they felt like. And that legacy continues to this day. So when you start using Linux and its different utilities, you will find that the options are not the same. Minus F in one application will mean a completely different thing in a different application. Okay? Minus H for help in one, minus H for human readable in another one. Okay? So this is what you'll have to play with. Now Unix initially was, when they found a use for it, people started selling hardware with the OS bundle. The hardware vendors were only interested in selling the hardware. They were not bothered about the software, they gave it away for free, including the source code. Unix was originally given to universities with the source code. There were no restrictions. The community worked that way. Later on, the vendors, other people came in, they thought there's a market for software and they started charging for the OS and they started closing the source code. Richard M. Stallman, he was also working at the university and he found this very disturbing because when he wanted to fix a bug in a printer driver, he could not do it because the vendor wouldn't give him the source code and the vendor wouldn't fix the bug. So Stallman decided to write his own operating system and he called it GNU. As in, GNU is not Unix. Again, it's a recursive acronym. He, along with other people, they wrote a major part of it. They finished it, except for the kernel. They were still working on it, the kernel was not ready. Around that time, Linus Torvalds, he was a student at the University of Helsinki, and he was looking for an operating system for his PC, a 386-based system. He had access to a software called Minix. I don't know if you have heard about it. You have heard about Tannenbaum. Okay, he is the author of multiple books. He has written networking. Yes, so you have read about him. Huh? Have you read any of his books? Okay, he has also written a book on operating systems, where he teaches how to design and write operating systems. And as part of that book, he has given away the source code of Minix, the operating system that he developed. But Minix had its limitations. It was for 16-bit systems, and it was not the kind of kernel that was different. It didn't suit Linus Torvalds. He used Minix for some time, and then decided to write his own operating system, and he wrote Linux. Linux is only the kernel of the operating system. It needs utilities. Linus decided to use the GNU utilities developed by Richard Stallman and his team, the GNU project, which is there. And the whole system was there, ready. A lot of people like to therefore call it GNU Linux rather than Linux itself, but it's your choice, you can call it whatever you like. Just a brief history. Now, Stallman, when he came up with the idea of giving away the software. Now, if you notice, when you buy any software, it comes with a license agreement, an end user's license agreement, EULA. Have you all read any of it? Anyone read it? Nobody. They all click on the I agree without reading. It's a big legal document, difficult to comprehend, but basically it gives you nothing. You're not buying the software. You are only renting it, and your rights are very limited. So Stallman decided that now he's got the software. Software is protected by copyright, but then you have to protect it. So how do you protect it? So he decided to come up with his own licensing agreement. And he wanted to give the freedom to the people. So he enshrined that the software license should contain the 4 freedoms. First, the freedom to use the software. You can take it and use it. It's yours. The freedom to see the source code, to see how the program works. So it will come with the source code. And then you can modify the source code and play with it and run it. Freedom to distribute it. You can give it to your friends, to your family. No restrictions. Unlike the ULA which forbids you from it and gives you, dire consequences if you do that. The cops will be called, kind of a thing. Not here. Here you are encouraged to give it to your friends. And the 4th freedom. The freedom to improve the program and redistribute the improved version. So for this, he decided to write his own license agreement, which is a copyleft license, which is called the GNU Public License, GPL. Okay. So for software to be called free software, now when we are talking saying free, we don't mean free as in free of cost, that may be incidental. Free here means freedom. Okay. Unfortunately, English has only one word for both of them. Whereas in Spanish, you will say there's a separate word for freedom, that is libre. Okay. In India, when we say there's two different things, muft and mukt. Okay, so this is mukt software, not muft. So, cost, you may have to pay for it, may not. Okay, usually it is not. But you have the freedom. Now to ensure that that freedom continues further down the line, okay, the GPL license says when you distribute this software or its modified versions, you have also to make sure that you are giving the source code of the software and the same conditions to the next person you're passing it on. So, this is a protected reciprocal license. It makes sure that the changes continue. So, no company, organization, or an individual can take a free software and make it their own and not give you the source code. GPL was one of the licenses. Second license is the LGPL. They had to come up with a separate license for libraries so that libraries written using the GPL license could be used in proprietary software. So they came up with the LGPL. There's a lesser general public license. There are other free software licenses also, like the Mozilla public license. So you all use Mozilla Firefox. You can go there and you can get the source code. You can play with it, you can modify it. Okay. There have been other browsers developed based on the Mozilla browser. I think one of them is the Brave browser, if you have come across it. They could do it because the source code is available. But there were a lot of other people in the industry who were not happy with this. They did not want to give the source of what they had written to other people, or they didn't want to force other people to give the source code. So they came up with their own licenses and they called them the open source licenses. These licenses they give you the source code. They allow you to make changes. But they don't force you to give the source code. So you can take the source code, modify it, close it up, make binaries and distribute them. So those are like the Apache license, MIT license, the BSD license. These licenses don't force you. There are others. There's a huge number of open source licenses. You are encouraged to read the licenses of the software that you use. Any questions up to this point? No one? No questions? Got it? If I ask you a question, so I'll give you the answer. Yeah? Okay, good.